All right. Well, we are here with probably my favorite Team Infinite athlete, Ginny Cataldi, who is obviously on Team Infinite, also now Team Varlo. Just here to kind of catch up. I know you've got a big following, and I'm certainly a fan of yours. So welcome, and it's nice to see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
I know we've been chatting a little bit, yeah, before this, and kind of how's your day going so far?
Well, it's been very interesting, to say the least. Lots
Yeah.
of time on the phone and on hold, and you're transferring here and there, and yeah, good stuff.
Life gets in the way, right?
Absolutely.
Nice. So you are Ironman finisher, top 10 in Hawaii. You have a huge resume as far as your athletics going. How do you pack that into your day while still being a teacher? I mean, we originally were going to do this interview actually in your classroom, which was super cool, but we didn't have good enough internet. But seeing you in the classroom, just how do you find time to do what you do?
I think that when you have something that you really want to do, you make sure that you can find the time or you make the time. So I think another thing that's interesting is that I have an 18-year-old and a 15-year-old. So the two of them are, into their own things, and I need to make sure that I'm scheduling time for them too. But, I usually wake up around 4 o'clock in the morning to get my first workout in and try to get the second one in the afternoon. And sometimes it doesn't happen. So my workouts are later than I would like them to be. I'm definitely one of those people who has a cutoff. And if I don't start something by maybe 5:30, I'm like, oh, it's just not happening. This is going to be too hard. That there's a kind of a shift there when spring happens and it's light outside, but the darkness sort of messes with you a little bit.
So what got you into the sport? I mean, how'd you get bit by the bug?
Well, I had a friend who was trying to convince me to do them for years because I was a collegiate swimmer, and I, had no idea what she was talking about. But she's like, "They'll be fun." And so, when I was going through a divorce, I thought that it would be a really nice, healthy, kind of fun new thing to try. And so I trained all summer for my first triathlon and did my first one in September of 2010, and I had a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was similar story that I post divorce found a new group of friends through training, and it really is triathlon has been wonderful in my life in that aspect, is that it just it kind of it's a very healthy lifestyle, and I made it still friends that I have to this day after 30 years plus in the sport. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's neat to have friends all over the country and even all over the world. And some of them, I'll probably never meet. And some of them I meet for the first time. Actually, I just met one person who I've known for 4 years for the first time last weekend. And it's so fun. It's really fun.
That's fun. So what are your plans this summer? A races, what are your, kind of plans? I know you're coming off of an injury, and you could talk a little bit about the rehab back, but it looks like you're healthy, and hopefully you'll have a good year.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm hoping so too. It's been a long time. I feel like it's been a long time. I broke my ankle back in, everybody uses COVID as their marker. So during COVID, January, and had to have surgery. I got steel plate and screws in my ankle, and I have SI joint issues, L4, L5, L3, S1. And so I've had numerous injections in my spine, and they temporarily helped, but the last one was awesome. And I totally forget the name of it, but it was like this lubricant or something that coated the joints, and it created less pressure on the nerves. And that's worked for 2 years. So I think I'm flirting with right about now needing to get another one just based upon my weekend last weekend. But I'm back to running, I'm back to cycling, and feeling really good doing them. I just need to figure out, ultimately, I think my bike fit might be a little too aggressive for my spine stuff at this point. So I'm going to do some tweaking with that, and then hopefully I'll be back in business.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, 100%.
Get a shot of WD-40 in your back, yes. Right? So with a swimming background, what's your strength right now?
Well, I was as far as the whole triathlon goes.
Yeah.
I mean, my strength has generally been the cycling portion of of racing, which definitely was not on display last weekend. It was nice to get out there, and Chattanooga is a beautiful course. So it was nice to get out there and see the scenes or whatnot. But I think that will be my strongest once I can, figure out my fit. And I don't have any problem when I'm training, but true confessions, I should probably be an arrow on my trainer more than I am. But so hopefully that will all come together for me.
Absolutely. It's just, I always find that swimmers have the plumbing because their, cardiovascular system is so developed. And when they become great bikers, I didn't ever had that. So I never became a good biker. So that's very cool.
Thanks.
So do you have any hobbies at all? What do you do for fun other than kids? I mean, are they sporty? What do they do? Are they playing lacrosse or what are they doing?
So both my kids are swimmers.
Nice.
Yeah, which is great. My daughter's really, really into it. So she'll be a sophomore next year. And she like me, well, my son too, I didn't start swimming until I was in 9th grade. And that was a little bit of peer pressure from the coach who converted me from a basketball player to a swimmer. So
Wow.
I was very, very excited when both my kids in 9th grade decided that they were going to try something new when, kids these days, they start sports when they're like barely walking. So I give them a lot of credit for jumping in. It's nice to see that. But
How are they doing?
They're good. Like my daughter.
Come on, Mom. You can brag on them here. Go for it.
Yeah, she really wants to get more involved and maybe consider swimming over the summer. So that makes me excited. And both of them convinced me to let them join one of the local gyms so that they could go after school and swim. So they've been doing that, and the season's over for them. So it's nice that they're still getting in there and doing that.
That's
but
awesome.
As far as hobbies, I teach art. I teach grades 5th through 8th. So I love painting and photography and drawing. So I try to find time for that as well. I think most recently my daughter asked me to do a painting for her, and it's really the first painting I've done in a really long time. I had a great time doing it, and I was really proud of my results. So, little things, but that I think is probably number one hobby for me.
That's amazing. I have zero talent, none.
I can teach
you. It's like trying to teach me to dance. It's
oh, I can't do that.
There'll be a lot of arms going, and that's about it. It's just, and my drawing is about the same, which is not good at all. So now tell us a little bit about Team Varlo, because I know we've had a relationship with the Barlow group, who was fantastic at our kits. They were really fantastic to work with. I like everybody that I met inside of that company. So tell us where that relationship came from and kind of what do you do?
Yeah. So, I got a message one day from Saj, who is the owner, on Instagram, and he asked me if I was up for a chat. So I said, sure. And we had a FaceTime for our first meeting. And because you've met him in person, he's just so charismatic and passionate, and he just kind of sucks you in with his personality. And you can tell that he just loves what he does. And the first time I spoke to him, I was automatically drawn to him. And it's really neat because he was still kind of, building the business, and, they were kind of tweaking how they were going to, what companies they were going to use to make the kits and all that kind of stuff. So it was neat to be part of that. My role was a product consultant. I'm not really sure if it still is. I know I signed a contract for it, but I know that right now they are very, very busy with some of the other people. So you met Ed as well.
Yep.
And Ed quit his full-time job and now is working with Varlo full-time.
Fantastic.
So I think it was just awesome. So I think the two of them are like kind of powerhousing through some things together and, figuring it out as they go. But it's neat still. I worked with somebody else just this spring, and got him up and running with some team gear, and it's a lot of fun. It's neat.
Yeah, and tell him because I think a lot of the Infinite people probably don't know exactly what Varlo does. Can you kind of
Yeah, it's custom apparel. So they work with teams and they design custom designs with those people, and there's a lot of back and forth to discuss exactly what they want. And they've got several different designers that they use for that. And then they open up a team store, and people can go in, the athletes of that team can go in and pick and choose whatever it is that the person who is making the store has chosen to put in. And then, you send away and you get your orders back and you get to wear them. So,
and the equipment's great too. Cause I mean, the chamois great. The shorts are great. The stuff is really nice. So that's great.
So it's not just triathlon. It's everything. It's swim, bike, run. It's casual. They have sweatshirts and shorts, and they've got a lot of really great things.
They got it going on. It's a good group.
They do.
So talk a little bit about your kind of training strategy. Are you a long, slow distance girl? Are you a go hard all the time girl? Do you watch heart rate? Do you work more towards perceived exertion? How do you do things?
Yeah, so I think when you're like first starting out for the season, there's a lot more heart rate based training than there is like going by speed, especially running. So running is definitely in the beginning more heart rate based until you can, feel yourself becoming more fit. And at that point, then you can I start going by pace. Is that to
limit yourself so you're not going too hard early season and hurt yourself? Or what's the thoughts behind that?
Yes, absolutely. So just, bring it. So for example, when I first started running again, I could be running maybe a 9:30 pace. I'm just throwing numbers out. And my heart rate is like 148. And then as I continue along with that same exact pace, as I'm watching my heart rate, my pace could stay the same, but my heart rate will come down. And that's like the signal that's saying, hey, you're getting in shape. Now we can start bringing some other things into this. I'm definitely more of an endurance person as opposed to like sprint fast. When I first started, I was doing sprints and Olympics, and, then I found half Ironman, and then I found Ironman. And that distance is really my sweet spot. Oh, this is my thing. I was like, I can run these all day. But it's difficult, as I'm sure you can appreciate, to get those 20 to 22 hours to, find to dedicate to training for the Ironman and able to perform where I'd like to perform. So I sort of made a deal with myself in 2018 when my kids were, I'm the chauffeur. To do this, we want to do this, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to let this time go by and be like, wow, I miss my kids growing up. And so in 2018 I decided I was going to do my last Ironman, and just for then. And I had registered for one last year, and with all the health stuff it didn't happen, but honestly I'm kind of glad it didn't happen. I think it wasn't the time for it to happen, even though Lake Placid is just this magical place, and it's nice to be up there and be part of it. But I think there will be a time when I can come back to it again. But I definitely like the longer distance.
That's awesome. So talk about your kind of what diet. What do you, or are you a seafood person? Seafood, eat food, or are you careful about you?
The beggars can be choosers. I'm like. I would like to consider myself a carb girl. No, I love carbs. So, I think I try to keep a well-rounded diet. I can't say it's perfect. Like every now and then I'll be like, oh, I'll have that brownie. But, I think at the same time, as important it is to feed your body to perform, it's also important to remember, like, you live one time. And so if I want that extra piece of pizza or like that cookie or whatever, then I'm going to have it. I'm definitely more of a salt craver, so soft pretzels are like my big vice. I don't know. And
this is why I like you. This is why I like you, Ginny. I just right here, it's like, well, I try to eat a lot of salad, and but actually, if you want that extra pizza, yes,
I'm doing it.
So, can you walk us through your day before, and then leading up into race day as far as nutrition goes? I'd love to hear, kind of how you handle your nutrition on race day for our folks. I think that would be good to hear.
Yeah, sure. So the day before and race day, or?
Well, what are you doing anything special day before? I'd just be interested in kind of what your protocols are.
So in the morning, so the day before, I usually stick to fairly bland and, nothing with seeds and nothing with no roughage and that kind of stuff. So I usually start oatmeal is my go-to on pre-race and even race morning. I do oatmeal with a banana, a spoonful of peanut butter. Gosh, we're such creatures of habit. A little bit of cinnamon and maybe some honey. And then, throughout the day, I make sure that I'm taking in a ton of water, and I love the pre-hydrate with Infinit. So just because of the sodium, and especially if it's going to be a hot race. So I like to make sure I take in plenty of those things. Yep. And then for dinner, I always eat the same lunch. Lunch is hit or miss. It's like maybe a sandwich or, apples and, lots of that kind of stuff. But dinner is always the same. It's chicken and string beans or broccoli and potatoes or rice. So it's always the same.
That's the all-American meal right there. That's awesome.
If there's bread around, I might maybe have some of that. Yeah, it's funny because people are like, you don't eat pasta like the day before? I'm like, well, I eat pasta, but not literally the day before. But yeah,
the whole pasta thing is funny. I mean, it's fun, and yeah, you can eat some pasta, but it's not going to do anything for you. It's absolutely nothing. You've got Anyway, so all right. So good night's sleep. Obviously, get up the next morning. You want to make sure that you're hydrated. That that when you pee in the morning, not to get gross on things, but that it's not looking like dark tea, right?
Yeah. And then usually I have, again, my same oatmeal that I had the day before. Yeah. Do the pre-hydrate with some GoFar before the swim. And that's and then a thing of water. So that's generally how I start. Yeah. Yeah.
And then what are you using on the bike? And so you've got your bike mix, and then are you doing do you do a separate run mix as well, or what do you do?
And actually, when I have 10 miles left on the bike, I switch to the run mix, just, since the bike mix has that protein, and I just know that I need to set myself up for something that's faster burning. So I switched to I keep a little flask with me, one of the little squishy Infinit ones, the yellow one.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a great idea. I mean, about
stick them in my shirt.
No, not that. I was saying switching to the run mix before, like on that last little bit of the bike leg, because I just think that's so smart. Because if your run mix doesn't have any protein, it just allows you to hit the ground running where your belly's nice and empty and feeling fine. I just think that's brilliant.
Well, thank you. I've learned it.
Thank you. Oh, you did?
Oh yeah, I learned.
Nice. Do you have caffeine? You have caffeine in your mix?
I do. Yes. And in fact, leading up to the race, I'll have a cup of coffee here or there, but I really try to stay away from a lot of other caffeinated things, just because I feel like, especially when you get to that run, having that caffeine boost and that little extra pep is so helpful.
Yeah, even for this, right? Even for your head, it's almost like you kind of get the caffeine and you kind of know you're going to be able to make it home. So that's good. So what are your race plans for the rest of the summer?
Well, I think the big one that I'm trying to focus on is the new race that they've added in Penn State, that Happy Valley.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to go up there and see what the new course is going to be like. And I joined the Facebook group just to kind of watch. I like to see what people are saying. I never really contribute anything, but they've posted a lot of information about the course, and so it's neat to.
It sounds very flat.
Oh, or not.
No, I'm being totally not kidding. I'm totally kidding.
So yeah, it doesn't.
I bet that's going to be. I bet it's going to be beautiful, though.
I think so. I'm the time of the year. It could go either way with the temperatures and that kind of stuff. So yeah, we'll see. But
that's very cool.
I also have Maine on my list, and I've never done Maine, but I love New England and
Yeah.
the old Timberman, because they tried to bring Timberman back and now that's gone again. But the old one was literally my favorite race that they had that I ever did. And I love New England. It's gorgeous up there. So I'm thinking that Maine will maybe have a similar vibe to it. I'm hoping.
Timberman was in Vermont,
It was in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire. I went one year.
Yeah.
I remember being at that expo actually with my son Taylor, because I went to school in Maine for 3
Oh.
years. I love Maine.
Yeah,
Maine's,
gorgeous.
it's fantastic.
Actually my first half Ironman, and Christy Wellington was there at the time and put my finisher's medal around my neck. That was really, really cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Timberman brought such a cool pro group there. And it was just like, I mean, Andy Potts, he's part of Infinit. I feel like one summer I felt like I was like stalking him or something. I'm at Eagleman. He's at Philly Track. He's at Timberman. And I'm like, I'll get a picture with you everywhere. So yeah, that was pretty funny. But
that is really funny.
A group of people up there. It was really nice.
That's cool. Well, good luck to you. Obviously we talk more than often, but it's really nice catching up and just finding out a little bit more. And I'm really looking forward to hearing a race report that you're happy at crossing a finish line, not limping, which will be really great to hear.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. Are you planning on being anywhere this summer?
I'm going to be in Boulder next week. We will definitely be out and about, but the calendar is changing around a little bit. So we've been on the gravel circuit for a while. We'll probably continue with that. And as far as MDOT races, we're just going to have to kind of find out what's going on.
Are you still doing Triple T?
We did Triple T over the weekend, and that was the race director did a nice job. It was his really first time as his event from when Shannon Kirk used to do it. They didn't have as many people, but it went off pretty flawlessly. So I think that race should continue. Have you done that?
I was registered for it, and then, COVID, blah, blah, blah. And then the following year, it didn't fit in with my schedule, but it's something that I've always wanted to do. So next year, let's do it.
We're on it. All right. Well, that's a great way to end things. Ginny, great catching up with you.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Bye.